All right, let's get right into it. We're going to talk about something that a lot of people feel but might not have the words for, the unique psychology of kids who had to be adults way before their time.
This quote, wow, it just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? It's not usually about one big dramatic event. It's more of a slow fade, a quiet taking on of responsibility because, well, somebody had to. It's a childhood that just kind of dissolves.
So, if that feels even a little bit familiar to you, then you're in the right place. This is for anyone who looks back and realizes, hey, I became the responsible one without even realizing it was happening.
So, what do the experts call this experience? Turns out, psychology has a name for it, a really powerful concept that kind of unlocks everything else we're about to talk about.
The term they use is parentification.
And here's the key thing to get. This isn't just about doing more chores. It's about having to manage adult-level emotions before the part of your brain that handles that stuff is even fully online. And the brain, being the amazing survival machine it is, learns to cope. How? By pushing its own needs down. It gets really good at solving other people's problems, but it learns a painful lesson. Your feelings have to come last.
So, how does all this early responsibility actually end up shaping you? Let's start by looking at the internal world, the specific traits that develop on the inside.
The very first trait that almost always pops up is something we can call survival independence. And look, this isn't just about being capable. This is a kind of self-reliance that's born from pure necessity.
It makes sense, right? When a kid learns they can't count on consistent support, they adapt. They just stop asking for it. They stop expecting to be comforted. So as an adult, this person might look incredibly self-sufficient, but on the inside, accepting help feels almost impossible because their wiring tells them that support just isn't reliable. Now, this intense self-reliance often creates this fascinating internal conflict. It's called split maturity, and it's what happens when your emotional growth is, well, uneven. You can really see that internal tug of war here. On the outside, they're the wise, responsible friend everyone goes to for advice. But on the inside, because they never got a chance to be a kid and need things safely, they can feel really confused, unfulfilled, and even guilty for having feelings at all. Okay, so all those internal survival skills, they eventually start showing up on the outside, right? They shape how you interact with the world, leading to a set of traits we can probably all recognize. The first external trait is one I think so many people will get immediately: uneasy rest. It's that deep, profound difficulty with just stopping, with being still and doing absolutely nothing. The psychology here is actually fascinating. For a child in an unpredictable home, calm can feel dangerous. Quiet is when things might go wrong, so their nervous system literally adapts to stay on high alert. As an adult, rest doesn't feel like a relief. It feels like you're letting your guard down. Your value gets tangled up in being constantly busy and useful to others. And that constant feeling that you have to be useful, well, it flows right into our next trait, this really powerful, nagging feeling: guilt for needing. The logic is pretty clear when you trace it back. The child learns a core belief: my job is to take care of others. So if someone is taking care of me, I am a burden. The result? They downplay their own needs. They apologize for asking for anything. And when someone does try to help, it just feels weird, uncomfortable, not comforting. And finally, all of this leads to a trait that sounds like a contradiction, but it makes perfect sense when you think about it. It's called guarded empathy. Growing up this way makes your emotional radar incredibly sharp. You can read a room in a split second. You can sense when things are off. You anticipate problems. But, and this is the big but, you also know the heavy price of caring that much. So you adapt again. You stay guarded. It's empathy with a force field around it, learned from experience. Now, I know after hearing all of this, it's really easy to frame this as a story of damage, of being broken. But that is not the whole picture, not even close. Let's reframe this entire experience. And this, right here, might be the most important takeaway from our whole conversation. These traits are not signs that something is wrong with you. Your nervous system did exactly what it was designed to do, to survive. It adapted. The things we've talked about aren't flaws. They are brilliant, hard-won survival skills. This is not a story about being broken. It's a story of incredible strength and adaptation. I think this sums it all up perfectly. You learned responsibility before you learned what it felt like to be safe. You learned strength before you learned how to be soft. And the key to healing isn't about unlearning your strength. It's about finally giving yourself permission to learn what you missed, that it is safe to rest, and that you are allowed to be cared for.
And that brings us to one final thought, a question to just sit with for a moment.
So, really ask yourself, are you still carrying that weight long after the situation that demanded it is over? Just recognizing it is the first huge step. Understanding it as an adaptation, not a flaw, is the next. And finally, learning that you are allowed to set it down, well, that's where the real healing can begin.